Hello and welcome to today's Starseed Healing Circle. Welcome back, and today we are going to move to the Serapheum in Saqqara. But before we do that, we're going to tune in, and after the tune in and we've looked at the Serapheum, then we'll go through and we've got a soul transformation therapy session lined up for today. So let's get in. So we are tuning in today with the Sirius Gateway light code activation. So perhaps close your eyes, take a few slow deep breaths in and out. Just think about what it is that you would like to receive, what you would like to let go of, what you would like to heal, what you would like to bring into your life. Once you've got that formulated and you know where you're going, where your focus lies, open your eyes and allow your eyes to gently rest on the light code, or perhaps trace the light code with your eyes so it becomes a labyrinth for your eyes. Keep your focus and your awareness on your goal, what you would like to heal, what you would like to release, what you would like to bring into your life or manifest. Stay here as long as you like. You may pause the recording if you want to. So, nearing the end of our journey in Egypt. It's been quite a journey. So, like I said, today we are visiting the Serapheum. This is in Saqqara. Saqqara is where we've got the step pyramids, and it's quite a big complex. So I've broken the Saqqara journey up into a few parts, starting with the Serapheum. That was the first place we went to. So let's go have a look at that story. So the Serapheum is really a burial place or burial complex for the sacred bulls, the Apis bulls. In Memphis, they had the Apis cult who worshipped these bulls, and they believed that the bulls were the incarnation of Ptah, the creator god. And the thought was that when these bulls die and they can mummify them, they would become immortal and they would become or step into the role of Usarapi, which is Osiris Apis. So Usarapi would then be, that was sort of the full embodiment of Osiris. So not just the Ka or the Ba, not just the spirit or the personality, but the full embodiment. So the idea was that the bull, the Apis bull itself, would be worshipped in the temples, and they would look very, very well after it, and then mummify it at the end and bury it. So the Serapheum is this burial complex that is in Saqqara, as I'd mentioned. And they have, in the time span of about 1,400 years or so, they have buried around, I think, about 60 Apis bulls that they've buried. So that means it's sort of one, if we do average, is one every 23 years. And the way that they worked was that after an Apis bull died, the priest would then go about to search for a young bull that was recently born. And so they believe that the soul of Osiris would have migrated to the new bull, similar to, I think, how they would do with the Dalai Lama these days and things like that. And identified the bull by various markings. So it had to be a black bull, It had to have like a triangular spot on the forehead, the likeness of an eagle on the back. I've got a little image that I can show you in a while. It had to have double tail hairs and a knot under the tongue, and a few other things. So these were just some of the markings. Each of the markings had a symbolic value, and so this was a very specific look that they were going for, and they would then search. So basically, once the Apis bull, the current Apis bull, died, they would go into mourning, and they would remain in mourning until such time as I found the reincarnation. As soon as they found the reincarnation, then the people could stop their mourning. The calf was then taken to Nalopis for 40 days, and then after the 40 days, it was brought to the temple of Ptah. And it stayed there for another 40 days. And during that 40 days, only women were allowed to look after the bull. And yeah, so it was all about the sort of generative qualities and so forth. And after that, the bull would then be moved back to its location where it would then continue its work. But after that 40 days where the women were the only ones to take care of the bull, no women were ever allowed in the presence of the bull again. So there's that special 40 days where women were allowed and no men, and then that switched around. So it's quite a story. And then obviously when the bull died, they would then mummify it, and it would be buried in this site. So yeah, if you look at the map on the right-hand side, that's the greater halls, and you can see that the sort of the burial chambers are not directly across from each other. They are sort of staggered, almost like a zipper or something. And the idea was that the energy inside the tomb would not escape into another tomb, so that out of each tomb there would be a wall across from it. So it was very, very interesting setup there. Let's have a look at what it looks like inside. So before we got inside, this is what it looked like outside. Outside, I must say, this is one of those areas where it just really reminded me that I was in the middle of the desert, and there was very little, well, there's lots, but there's very little, I don't want to say there's very little life, but it was just very, very dry and very hot. Yeah. So just another view. It, as I've mentioned, very dry. So, and it's sand and stone, and that is it. Then the inside of the Serapheum is this big, long chambers. And I must say, this is one of the most peaceful places I found. All the places I visited, this was one of the most peaceful places. There was a really beautiful, calm energy in the space. It could be that it was still early and we were the only ones there, because it was literally just Walter and myself and our friend, so 3 of us. By this time, the big group that we were traveling with had dissipated. The big group had moved on to the White Desert, and we chose to stay in Cairo and not go to the White Desert on this journey. So instead we went to Saqqara. But this was just, there was something in the air here. The energy was beautiful. There was a peace. There was a calmness. Even the guardians of the space were really lovely. We had nice discussions with them. This is some of those tombs. Oh, by the way, these tombs they closed the Serapheum around 30 BC, so 30 years BC. And after the Serapheum was closed, there was large-scale looting that took place. So a lot of all the mummified Apis bulls were removed, along with their opulent burial goods and things like that. And it was only rediscovered in 1850. And when they discovered the space in 1850, there was only 2 undisturbed burials. So they found thousands of objects related to the cult and so forth, which gave them some insights, and there were 2 fully mummified bulls. But the rest were all removed. How they even removed these things is beyond me, because these sarcophagi are massive. They are tons and tons and tons. So we'll come back into the tons and tons and all the blocks, but just if you look at these tunnels, I think the tunnels go on for about 350 meters. There was an earthquake as well in 1992. I think that also caused some upset here, and they had to go and do some renovations. But like if you look at the image on the right, just in the rock, this like sort of sandstone rock, there's also crystals forming. So I think that also adds to the energy of this particular space. There's some more images of these sarcophagi. And like if a person had to stand next to one of these, you don't reach the top. Well, so I've got a picture here. Yeah, there we go. So there's a picture of Walter next to one of these. So these blocks are massive and very, very hard stone that they've used here. I think the tunnels are about 5 meters high or something. So as you can see, it was just the 3 of us and then the 2 guides that took us through. Or the guardians of the space. In one of the tunnels, there is this block or sarcophagus that's standing there. According to the guardians, their story is that one of the pharaohs wanted to remove one of these sarcophagi, and this is the one he chose. And he tried to get it out of the tunnels, and this is as far as he got it, and he couldn't move it any further, so he just left it there. So that's the story. But if you go and look up close, there's no inscriptions on this particular block, and the block looks a little bit unfinished. So my insight or my view that I have is that this block was being taken in to the tunnel and was on its way to be taken to its location, where once in location they would polish the rock and then do the inscriptions, because it made no sense why a king would want to remove an unmarked block. If you're going to have something that you're going to put on display, then put one of these beautiful ones on that's got carvings and inscriptions on them, like for example one of these. Let me just quickly go back. So all of these are very beautifully polished. They've got inscriptions on them, and they've got more inscriptions on the sides, and this block had absolutely nothing on. So my thought is that this one was being moved in, and it was probably around the time when they were busy closing the Serapheum in any case. So perhaps this one they just left it there. But as you can see, these tunnels, this is the service tunnel towards the back, very, very narrow. And how do you move a block this size? Yeah, and they are heavy. I think they said they're about 65 tons or something. So it's very, very heavy. It's a few cars. So anyway, so this is just that block, and there's a very, very narrow little part that you can squeeze past on the one side. Then when we got to the other end, there's all these little alcoves, and when I asked the guardian about these alcoves, he said those were actually plates with hieroglyphs on that have all been removed and have been sent off to the museums. So yeah, it's sad to see all the walls in the section sort of with these holes where there used to be inscriptions, but at the same time, at least the messages and stories are kept so that they're kept safe and they are available to be seen by everyone. Here's an image. This is from another tomb, but this is an image of the Apis bull. So he's got his little triangular shape on his forehead. The they normally would have this sort of moon shape over the back. The eagle shape is over the tail, where it would look like two wings over the backside of the cow. And then it had to have this sort of white patch that could represent the crescent moon. And then I'm not sure about the double tail hair, and the knot under the tongue, but that was part of the story, and that's how they knew that they had the correct bull. Anyway, this long story. Also, the whole Apis, the Userapi cult, a lot of that was also adopted by the Greeks later on, and the Greeks changed the name from Userapi to Serapis. So I'm sure some of you have heard of the Ascended Master Serapis Bey. Serapis is that full, complete form of Osiris. We didn't really do much. There was no healing work or whatever. So by this time we had finished our pyramid story, the pyramid and the ceremony within the pyramid. That was really the pinnacle of the entire journey. And so we had 1 or 2 days to just completely rest and land back on Earth, because every single stop we've done was ceremony and ritual and all kinds of things. And so coming to nearing the end of our journey for this last trip, we just wanted to really be like tourists and just go into places and not really do anything major from a ceremonial perspective. So this was just literally, we were just really coming here to soak up the energy. There were no other like, let's do meditation or anything like that. And it was just a nice soft landing back onto Earth. Okay, so now we are doing a soul transformation therapy session. As I'd mentioned, and with soul transformation therapy, we work with soul plan cards, and we normally get 2 cards, and that's going to give us our polarity and our solution. And then we work with those to find what the issue is that we're dealing with, and then we clear it. There's a few interventions that we work with. We have done some soul transformation therapy sessions, but each one's different. So let's see what comes up in today's session. Okay, so first of all, we're using our light code as our link. So I've got that with me. And then tuning in, taking your goal and your focus, whatever it is that you want to focus on. I need you to superimpose all of that information on top of the information I'm going to give you. So our emotion that comes up in relation to your focus is adoration, and it's about asking for help. Adoration, asking for help, and the dimension on top of that is secondary gain. So secondary gain is when you are doing something because you're going to gain something, and it's usually, secondary gain is not always positive. It could be, I choose to be sick because if I'm sick, people pay attention to me. People look after me. Something like that. So you don't really want to be sick. No, like no one's going to say they want to be sick. But if you are sick, then people pay attention to you. So there's normally some gain that you get from whatever the issue is. So if you're trying to heal from something, what do you gain from having that illness or condition? If it's something you want to manifest, what do you gain from not having that? Now, on top of that, put adoration and asking for help. So are you one of those people that need to ask for help and you need to get into a space of loving that? Or are you one of those people who feel uncomfortable asking for help? Okay, so that's your questions. Pause this recording if you need to make a note, write about it. The more you can feel into what this issue is, the better. Okay. Then, once you have that information, I want you to tune in and think about your stress levels. So if you take your focus or your goal, how much does it stress you to think about that? So just tune into that. So stress levels, just give yourself a number from 0 to 10. 0 is I've got no stress, which means the focus is not really an issue. Or you've got 10 as in you're going to explode. So if you think about what it is that you wanted to manifest or bring into your life or heal, how much do you feel stressed about not having that healing or not having that? So just write down that number between 0 or 10. How much life energy do you think you have to give towards that goal or focus? So 0 to 10. Do you have a lot of energy, 10, or do you have no energy, 0? So usually what happens, what we are looking for here is a stress that's quite high and life energy that's quite low. And we're going to check this again afterwards. Okay, so then let's step into our session. I'm going to invite you to pause the recording when and if you need to. This obviously when we get into the balance, there's going to be less of that. But our first card is our polarity. This is the 2-2. And the polarity is all about self-worth. It could be about ancestral patterns, limitations. It could even be subconscious vows. So it could be like vows of poverty, vows of chastity, things like that. So when the 2 comes up, it usually is something to do with self-worth. Then the separation card with that is the 16-7. And when we've got the combination of a 2 plus a 16-7, then it gives us a separation that's called the false self. So this is where we do something called protective masking. This is where you project out into the world what you think the world wants to see and not really who and what you really are. So you don't really show the world truly who and what you are. You show some projection or a mask. And so you don't really step fully into who you are. There's a sort of a, it could be about issues of vulnerability or, just not being authentic. So it's about stepping into authenticity. Okay, so for our corrections that we need to do here, or our interventions, we have archetypal work, and I'm going to do with you trauma release. So that's the 2 interventions that's up for today. So let's start with our first work, our archetypal work. The 2 archetypes that came up for you for the session is the visionary and frustration. And so we're going to be working with the frustration first, and then we'll go to the visionary. Okay, so let me quickly switch back to here. So for the archetypal work, currently you are sitting or lying in one location, right? That's where you are right now. Now I want you to look around in the room and find where in the room would frustration be right now. So just have a look around. Even if you just literally have to shift off to a side, it doesn't matter, but we have to physically move out of the current location. So look around the room, find where frustration is, and I want you to move to that location right now. Then also take on the posture and the position that frustration would take up. So sit, stand, or lie in the way that frustration would sit, stand, or lie in that location in your room. Now, as you are stepping into this new space and taking on that posture of frustration, you are literally becoming that frustration. The frustration, of course, is something that's standing in your way of manifesting or healing or bringing about that qualities for you. So you are now fully frustration. Okay. And my first question to frustration is, what can I call you? What is your name? So just write down or even answer out loud for yourself what that name is. What is your name as frustration? pause the recording here if you need to. So it doesn't have to be too long. It really is just, what is your name? Our next question to frustration is, how long has frustration, this archetype, this particular archetype, been present in your life? What role has frustration played in your life? So what does it want for you? Does this archetype of frustration empower you or disempower you? And perhaps if it empowers or disempowers you, how does it do that? What does frustration think of you as a person? How do they see you? Does frustration have any immediate guidance that it may want to share with you at this moment in time? Or does it have a message that it wants to share with you? And then finally, we want to know if frustration is willing to help in the healing work and forgiving work or forgiveness work for all of the people and situation involved. And if frustration is not willing to assist in the work and healing work, then we thank it, and that's okay. And if it is willing to assist us in the healing work, then we're definitely very happy. Okay, so come back to your original location, whether you were seated or lying, wherever it was. So get away out of the frustration corner or wherever you were for frustration. Come back into the here and now, and just quickly look through your notes. Look at frustration's name, how it empowers or disempowers you, what it brings into your life, what is the guidance. Just pause the recording and just read through that. And make a few personal notes, any insights that you gain from that. Like, what do you gain from this? What insights do you have now that you are outside of frustration? How did frustration energy appear to you? How did it feel? Any other insights or ideas or concepts? Just write those down, make a note of those. Okay. We've got our next archetypal energy, which is going to be the visionary. So look around the room. Where would the visionary be sitting or standing or lying within the room right now? Just look around and then go into that location. So physically move yourself in that location, very important. Take on the posture and the stance of the visionary. So our next archetype is the visionary. Get yourself into that location, into that stance, however it would be for you, whether it's seated, lying down, however it is. Okay, so now that you are in the location of the visionary, and we have to physically move locations, don't just sit and watch this, you've got to move. Now that you are in the location of the visionary and in the posture, you are fully embodied as this aspect of yourself. And our first question is going to be, what can I call you? What is the visionary's name? Make a note of that. How long has the visionary as an archetypal energy been present in your life? When did it appear for the first time? What role does the visionary archetype play in your life? So what does it want for you? How does it see your life? Does the visionary archetype empower you or disempower you? And if it empowers you, how does it do that? If it disempowers you, how does it do that? What does the visionary think of the archetype frustration? What does the visionary archetype think of you as a whole, as a person, as a being? Does the visionary archetype have any guidance for you for right now, in this present moment? Or is there any wisdom it would like to share with you? And then we also want to know whether the visionary as an archetype is willing to help in the healing and forgiving of any people, situations that may be involved here, anything that's still unresolved. And again, if the visionary says no, we respect that. If the visionary says yes, we are very happy. And we thank the visionary, and you come back into your original location. So back to where you were seated or lying down, back into that space. And now while in your original location, just quickly go over all of the notes that you've taken down for the visionary, all the insights you've gained. Perhaps make some extra notes on top of that. What does things mean? How do you see things? How do you interpret things? What does it feel like to embody that archetype of the visionary? Perhaps there was extra insights that you gained that was not directly given to you. Okay, so pause this recording, stay here as long as you need, and then we're going to move on to the next phase. So the next phase of the work is to do some forgiveness. So get comfortable, close your eyes, take a few deep breaths in and out. And visualize or imagine yourself in a favorite place, in a safe place. So this could be a real or an imagined place. And just know that this is your safe place. No one can come into this space unless you invite them in. And even when you invite them in, they have to do your bidding. They have to do as you say, because this is your place. You are fully protected and safe in this place. So just use all of your powers of your imagination, of your will, of your mind, to visualize and see this beautiful place. And visualize yourself surrounded with a cocoon of light. This cocoon of light is both protective and it creates a sacred space around you for the work that is to follow. So now we invite into this place any and all of the people who inflicted hurt upon you. So this could be at any time in the past or somewhere recent, especially anything related to what we are healing and dealing with today. And get them all to line up one person at a time next to each other. They can go into one line, or if there's a lot of them, they can go into multiple lines. They must obey, they must comply, and they must do as you say, because this is your safe space. Now just looking at all the people standing in front of you, who you need to do forgiveness work with. Perhaps you start with the first one, or perhaps you scan through the group and there's a particular one that you feel drawn to start with first. Go to this person, take them by the hand, and look deep into their eyes. And you say to them, I know you. I know you are a soul, just like me. I understand that you are here to play a role. And thank you for playing your part so perfectly. Because if you had to falter in your role or get out of character by accident, this would not help me to receive the experience that I need in this life. So I thank you for playing your part so perfectly. I forgive you. I love you. And I release you. If you want to, you may hug the person, or you could just let go of the hand and let them go. See them disappear. Then you would go to the next person and do the same. And we're going to do this with all the people involved, one at a time, until you have completed all of that. So if you want to, you could rewind the video just a little bit and then use that same text for the next person and the next person and the next person until you've completed that. So now that you have forgiven and let gone of everyone, you look off to the side and you see a group of blank looking faces. These people represent anybody that you may have hurt consciously or unconsciously as a result of being hurt yourself. So look towards this group and in your mind ask their forgiveness. They'll understand, and as their higher self witness, they will also forgive you. So allow this process to take place. Pause the recording if you need to. And once this group of individuals have all forgiven you and have all disappeared, we may move on. Next, you turn around and you see yourself standing there. Take yourself by the hand and look deep into your own eyes and tell yourself that you forgive yourself. Spend as much time here as you need. You may pause the recording if you need more time. Reach forward, give yourself a big hug. And as you do so, you merge with that part of yourself or with yourself. And as you merge, you can actually feel the energy within your heart space expand. You are free. You are free up from this day forth. Let's feel that expansion. Take a nice deep breath in. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Come to standing with your arms outstretched to the sides, palms facing forward, in a similar stance to what the Mother Mary is usually depicted. So standing tall, standing straight up, palms open to the front. You're going to do some trauma release. Imagine from your chest that your heart is being projected out in front of you. So as you're standing, imagine like this projection coming out from your heart. Send that out in front of you. And I want you to use I feel statements to talk about any and all negative feelings that you feel right now. For example, I feel sad. I feel let down. I feel unseen. I feel sad. Even if it is something that you need to repeat, I feel sad. I feel down. I feel unhappy. Keep going with whatever negative feelings you're feeling right now. Pause this recording if you need more time. Keep projecting your heart out in front of you. Keep going with your I feel statements. Keep going with these feelings. You may find as you do these feeling statements that the energy will start feeling a little bit lighter, perhaps even change. You're going to keep going until all of these statements become positive. Again, pause this recording if you need more time. Once all of these I feel statements have become positive and you feel different and better about yourself, we're going to repeat the following words. So continue standing the way you're standing. Your heart is still projected out in front of you. It's looking a lot purer and clearer. And say the following after me. I am more than this body. I am more than this mind. I am safe. I am love. I am loved. I am free. I am more than this body. I am more than this mind. I am safe. I am love. I am loved. I am free. I am more than this body. I am more than this mind. I am safe. I am love. I am loved. I am free. Imagine that the projection of your heart is being pulled back into your chest, coming back into the space. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Back into the space. When you're ready, open your eyes if they were closed, and you can take your seat again as we move on to the final section, and this is homework. So at the end, we draw 3 more cards. We've got the opportunity, the solution, and the result. So the opportunity is what the opportunity is for today's healing session. In this case, our opportunity is the 18-9. The solution is your homework that you need to do. This is where the information lies that you want to work with. And then the result, the final card, is what will happen as a result of doing the homework. Okay, so the opportunity that we have here is the 18-9. 18-9 is all about stepping into your power. It could be about traveling. There's some decision making that could come into play. It could also be about forward thinking, visionary type quality energy, which ties in with what we had as an archetypal energy. This is also about speaking your truth and having a good, strong self-belief, which again ties in with our first energy that we had. So self-belief and self-worth all tied in. So this is our opportunity. This is an opportunity to really step into yourself fully. The 18-9 is also associated with past lives and reincarnation, and it's about really making the connections, connecting the dots between those past lives and clearing and healing that space so that we can let go of what no longer serves. Then we've got the solution. Solution is 22-4, and the 22-4 is a very, very creative energy. This is also about completion, and it's about abundance and generosity. So this is a really, really nice energy to have. Now, the homework here is to reclaim your creativity. So you need to find something that you can do that's going to be creative. This could be about writing, whether it's a blog or a diary, or it could also just be expression in the form of dance or maybe a musical instrument. Perhaps there's an instrument that you've always wanted to learn how to play, or you wanted to learn how to read music, or whatever it is. Anything to do with art appreciation or creative writing or art workshops, those are all good. Perhaps even just visiting art exhibitions. But this is really about the aesthetics and getting into beauty, whatever beauty means for you. It could also be about reading some philosophy books, whether it's Western or Eastern, doesn't matter. And any books about non-duality, Taoism, or things like that. Those will also be very beneficial for you. And it's the 22-4 is about balance. So you want to get a balance between your spiritual practices as well as your physical work. So something like yoga, meditation, connecting to nature, all of those things are really, really good working with the 22-4. I'll also give you a list of all of the pieces that I've just mentioned. Now, as a result of doing this homework, we will step into the 10-1 energy. 10-1 energy is all about balance. It's a deeply healing energy and very, very inventive, We worked with the visionary qualities, so the visionaries within the 18-9 as well as within the 10-1. The 10-1 also brings channeling abilities, channeling of new ideas, channeling of information. It's a service-related energy, so whatever it is that you're bringing through is going to be of service to the world. It's very strongly associated with healing, so it's all about healing abilities and things like that. It's also very strongly associated with spiritual power and spiritual connection. And there is also a connection to vocal expression, so perhaps channeling or speaking, singing, or anything like that. And then also with it, it brings a very strong, stable frequency, stable energy. So there is lots of opportunities here for you to step into that. So just as a final, what I want you to do is to place one hand in the back of your head, one hand in the front of your head. Close your eyes, and I want you to just take a moment to visualize or imagine yourself sometime in the future, and visualize yourself having acquired all of these 10-1 energies, this inventiveness, the spiritual qualities, the groundedness, the ability to teach, to sing, to express yourself in a truthful way. Visualize yourself already accomplished with all of that. You've already achieved that. And just feel and experience what that feels like to have done all of that already. Okay, so perhaps write down a few notes on that, but I just get those feelings going. Once you feel that those feelings are in, take your middle fingers and just press on the round bone behind your ears on the mastoid process. So just behind the ear, that round bone that you've got, just press with your middle finger, a little bit of pressure there to lock it in, and then you can release, and we are all done. Now, I want you to think about your initial focus that we started with. What is it that you wanted to bring in? What did you want to heal? What did you want to work with today? And tune into the stress level that you feel associated with that right now, 0 to 10. So 10, lots of stress, 0, no stress. Where would you put your stress level now? Then your life energy. If you think about how much energy you have to give towards this goal now, 0, no energy, and 10, lots of energy. Write down that number. Now compare those numbers that you've just done now with the numbers that you wrote down earlier. Did your stress go down through the session? And did your life energy go up through the session? That's it. That is all that we need for now. So that concludes our healing session for today. You've got lots of homework to do, and you don't have to do all of the homeworks, but find some things within that. So for example, there may be something that stands out for you that you go like, oh, I've been really thinking about doing this for a while. Do that. Use that as one of your entry points. So that's it for today's session. So I will see you in our next session. I'm sending you so much love and light. Take care and have a good week.